Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Nandi Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyani Paschata Deshatharini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Okay, Hare Krishna. Welcome to the question answer session. A lot of questions today, which is good. Okay, first question. So-called scientific people call Ayurveda Shastra a pseudo-science, quoting from scientific researches on official sources like pubmed.gov. Whereas we see that so many devotees who are even well qualified in modern medical science support Ayurveda. There's no doubt that Ayurveda is perfect because it's given by Krishna. So how to deal with the people when they try to find faults and call the Shastra bogus? There are two types of people who are against Shastra. One is atheistic people, and in other words, envious. They are outright envious. It's difficult to deal with them. So we understand that the Madhyamadhikari does not deal with them because they're envious, just keep away. Others are innocent, they've been badly influenced. So those who have been influenced badly, we have a very good way to approach. First, you have to establish Vedic knowledge as bona fide pramana. What is pramana? Pramana is evidence or proper qualified reference. So if I say the world is round, someone will say, what is your praman? Where are you getting that information from? Okay, so for people from Sanatan Dharma or Vedic Dharma or Hindu, they should be basing their knowledge on the Vedas. Nowadays, they're doubting and not sure. But the fact is that Sanatan Dharma means that one bases their life on the Vedas. So according to the Vedas, the human senses are not perfect. There are 4 defects for all conditioned souls. They have imperfect senses, they have a propensity to cheat, and they can make a mistake, and they think they're the body. Because of these 4 defects, pure knowledge cannot come from a human being, or shall I say from a conditioned soul. For that reason, the whole modern science is thrown right out of the window because these people base their scientific research and knowledge on their senses. But I just said that our senses are not perfect and we can make a mistake, cheating propensity. I'll give you an example. Once the US and UK collaborated to send something to Mars. I think it was 2010, I can't remember. So they launched that thing, it went out into the sky, out into space, and went right on. It just left their control. So they couldn't understand what happened. Later on, it was found out that America was using, what do they use? SI units, and UK was using imperial units for measurement. And so they made a big blunder. So mistakes, yes, people tend to make mistakes. So we cannot base important knowledge on science. Maybe something small, we can use science, like, for example, how fast is that car going? Through modern science, I can measure. Okay, that's a small thing that we can allow them. But what happens after death? Who am I? Why did I take birth? How does digestion happen? Really, they cannot answer these questions. They are beyond the senses. So to come to your question, these people reject Vedas, okay? So what do they base their life on? Modern science, okay? But that science cannot be proper praman, because it's based on the senses. Now they may get some small things right. Okay, some minor things they'll get correct. But we're talking about big things, serious issue. And one is health. And also we don't know effects of drugs and of course vaccines. What will happen after 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years? So this is the root argument, is that people who reject Ayurveda, we have to ask them that, can you produce pure knowledge? We explain them that you cannot produce pure knowledge because of your defects. Okay, whereas the Vedas contain all information which is perfect. This is if they want to discuss, but some are out and right envious. So what can we do with them? So the whole argument is pramana. The pramana means evidence or basis of our knowledge. For people on the Vedic path, it's the Vedas. And for people on the scientific path, it's science. Of course, that doesn't mean we are not scientific. We are also scientific, but our science is theistic. Their science is atheistic. This is the issue. This is the problem. So we cannot deal with people who are atheistic. There's no basis. We cannot speak with them at all. Okay, so I hope I answered that question. Pramana. How to deal with them? You have to explain them this, what I just told you. Will they accept? Well, let's see. If they're scientific, they will. Actually, we are the real scientists. Okay, that is question one. And as I mentioned last time, in case if anyone has any issue with the way, like any question or further question or some further elaboration required, then you just interrupt and tell me. Otherwise, I'll go on to the next question.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
This question I asked because I told you once that my mother took me to the teenage counselor because she was being troubled. You remember that part? So there he was asking me about what all things do we follow in this Krishna consciousness. So
Yeah.
I had no clue how this counseling session goes because it was my first time. So I just told him genuinely that okay, we follow 4 regulative principles and there is the basic philosophy. I told him in like 5 to 10 minutes in summary, and then he took that one point of that illicit sex, and then he started questioning me, and then said that no, this is all wrong, it's been proven wrong. See, there are so many references. Then he was telling me that it's not based on anything authoritative, something like that he was saying. So many such people I will encounter in the future. That's why I was.
So let me answer. Typically, if that person were to say that to me, what I would say, okay, first of all, if he says this is not based on anything authoritative, then you can tell him that we accept Vedas as authority. He may not say you don't. We accept it. He'll say we accept our science book as authoritative. We'll say no, we don't. That's the first point. Say no, actually, people on this Vedic path, Sanatana Dharma, accept the Vedas as authoritative. All right. Next thing, he said that it's not been proven. All these things. Say that well, this is a Veda. Veda is accepted as our Purusha, coming from a perfect source. So we accept everything. They may not say, okay, you don't. Okay, you're free to follow what you want, but we follow the Vedas. Okay, and the Vedas are scientific. Okay, but let's just look at on this point. Okay, other examples. Okay, so we are talking about no illicit sex. So if you say that in the past everyone was following this, throughout different countries of the world, it's only now everything degraded. In fact, Napoleon, Hitler, Newton, Einstein, they were all brahmacharis, basically. Who else? Abdul Kalam, Modi. There's so many. And they're outstanding achievers. Why? Because that gives you strength. Okay. Okay, but the argument is not brahmacharya here, it's illicit relations. So excessive sex weaken, according to Shastra, Ayurveda, weakens body and mind and determination, willpower, and shortens life. It says that. And if you read a book called Brain Gain by Dhanavir Maharaj, who's from America, he wrote scientific facts to prove this. Anyway, we can argue in different ways also, like that. So you argue, not argue, you discuss with them when they say we don't accept Veda. Ask them a question, why don't you accept Veda? What is the reason? You have to have a good reason. We accept it. That's it. You don't, we do. Finish. Okay. You're different. I'm different.
Yes. Prabhu, at that time, actually, during that session, when I told him and when he was arguing, so I understood from his arguments that he must have encountered some people from the Ramakrishna Mutt. From the points he was giving, I more or less I understood that he was referring to them, that they stress on this more than we stress on in the Krishna consciousness, because here our main focus is Krishna. There it's an impersonal, so they don't have much to talk about in the impersonal field. So they stress on these other things.
Yeah, our arguments are very...
that's why. So he was particularly referring to some of his patients he had encountered, not patients exactly, the people with whom he did sessions. So the people who he encountered previously, and then he was basing his knowledge on that. See, these people are saying that you do these things, then your body will be strong and your mind will be strong, but science has proven that it's not affected like that. So that's how the whole argument went on.
Okay, fine. But as I'm saying, we can actually politely challenge, say, no, we accept the Veda. Vedas are perfect and it has been followed for thousands of years and they are very scientific, except that they are theistic, which they have a problem with.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, next question.
And Hare Krishna,
Yes.
Prabhuji, one question. So Ayurveda is a part of Upaveda, right?
Yeah, but it is Veda. It is coming in the Chaturved, the Rig, one of them, Rig Veda, Sama Yajur. It comes in that.
So like the other philosophies like Mimamsa and which are actually not, means we don't take that as Praman, right? So
no,
do we take Ayurveda as Praman?
Let's look at Mimamsa. We don't accept their philosophy, but we use their method of argument. Krama Mimamsa gives good, very good explanations on how to do arguments, and so we take that. Of course, we won't take most of the Veda, but the point is we accept that all the Vedas are coming from Krishna. That is mentioned in the Veda itself. The Veda it says, Asya Mahato Buddhasya Nishvasitam Etad Yadrik Vedo Yajur Veda Atharva Veda Sama Veda Atharvangi Rasaha. So it says that in the Veda, in the Upanishad, that this Veda has emanated from the breathing of Mahavishnu. We accept it. Okay, now, because the different Vedas are meant for different classes of people, we will not look at that part. So Vaishnavas, they only accept certain part. The Puranas, some of the Puranas accept this demigod is supreme, that demigod, but those are tamasic Puranas. We'll accept the Sattvic Puranas. And the Upanishads don't speak directly about God. So we'll go to the Bhagavad Purana and Gopal Thapani Upanishad, which are speaking directly. Okay, so the point is that all the Vedas come from Krishna, but we'll use certain parts which are meant for Vaishnavas.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll move to question 2. This is like a personal question, but it will benefit everyone. Should I, asking for my personal case, maintain notes when listening to lectures? I often tend to just hear and forget. And many devotees recommend and practice this. Personally, I have 2 books. I have one book where I take notes when I hear Prabhupada lectures and another book for all other lectures. Because when we hear lectures, these are realizations of other people. So we take that benefit of their realization and that it strengthens us. So I make many points, and I may not make so many points, maybe 5 points in lecture or something like that. But I would say to write. Prabhupada said once, writing means remembering. As soon as you write down, you remember. And then when you're free, you can just skim through those notes. And just by one line, everything else is unlocked of that lecture, what you heard, by just hearing that one line. Okay, so I would say to take notes when hearing lectures. That will be good. Also, another thing is some people hear lectures and tend to fall asleep. So when we take notes, then that focuses the mind in a better way. Okay. So next question, question 3. Why were conch shells used? Okay, this is probably implying in the battlefield of Kurkshetra. And in general, conch shells were used. People blew them. Yeah. Isn't it very impure as it is an underwater animal's remains? Does any of our scriptures specify why exactly these conch shells are used at the time of Kurkshetra war or any war? Well, conch shells are used very widely, even in our ISKCON temples and in pujas, in war, of course. There might be other uses. So it's true that shells are bones of animals. Anything which is bone is rejected as impure. Remnants of any animal. If we touch it, we have to take a bath if we're going to again do puja. But the Shastra does say, okay, that conch shell can be used. This will be in that part of the Shastra called Tantra, how to worship. Like Narad Pancharatra tells us how to worship. We use Narad Pancharatra. Then, for example, people worshipping Lord Shiva will use a different Tantra. So Narad Pancharatra tells us exactly how to worship, what to chant and everything. So probably I've not read the whole of it. That would be explaining that we should use conch shells. So, but we say, but this is the bone of an animal. Yes, any other bone of animal, we should not touch or remnants. But specifically, Shankha is pure. And I remember reading that it's also all the Shanks are expansion of her personality from Goloka, who was Tulasi's consort. Then Tulasi took birth, and not consort, there was some Leela involving Tulasi and Shankar. Then Shankar descended and took that form, and Tulasi took Tulasi form, Vrinda Devi. So the Shankar is considered pure according to Shastra. It's some deeper, it's not a normal shell. Okay, and I'll give another example. Just like if I say that we eat the honey, the vomit of an animal, that's disgusting. How can we do that? But that vomit of the bee is honey, which is okay. Otherwise, vomit of animal is not okay. So, but that is okay. All right. So, Ayurveda also, they medicines, people take it. So in that way, vomit is not good, but honey is okay. And another one, same Shastras tell us, if we pass urine, we have to wash our mouth, wash our legs, wash our hands, and purify ourselves. Okay, but the urine of the cow is not contaminated. Cow dung is not contaminated. When we take a bath, when we pass stool, we have to take a bath. Vaishnavas follow this. But when we touch the stool of the cow, we are not contaminated. We are in fact purified. Okay, so Shastra gives these things, and why or how, if you look, there will be some meanings which we have to look deep to find. But the point is that it's accepted as pure. It is accepted because it's from Shastra. Certain things are there, like Tulsi is not a normal plant. So from Shastra we accept it. Okay. So next question. Why? Yes.
Yes, Prabhu, you mentioned about the purification, the things that we touch certain things and do certain things, and we have to take bath. So, is there any rule that if, suppose by mistake my nail breaks some part of it, then like do we have to again take bath because it's just a small nail for that again taking bath?
No, you
Like
wouldn't.
for other things such as passing stool and other things, then that's a different thing. But just if the nail breaks and then we have
Well,
to take a bath for that
yeah,
as
you
well.
see, there are levels of contamination. So a nail, the amount of contamination, you just wash your hand, that's all. But if you're going to worship the deity, then you have to take a bath. If you're going to enter the deity room, not temple, deity room, Garbhagriha, then you have to take a bath. Yeah, then you have to. Otherwise,
Okay.
normal, that amount of contamination, that's okay. It's not, I mean, you just wash your hand. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Next question. Why are Lord Krishna's feet called lotus feet? Why not roses or any other flowers? There is, of course, more beautiful. There are, of course, more beautiful flowers than lotus. I have seen many articles online which justify the reference, but I'm not clear with them. For example, this explanation. Even when the Lord descends to any of the mundane planets, he does so by manifesting his own abode as it is. Thus, his feet remain always on the same big wall of the lotus flower. His feet are also as beautiful as the lotus flower. Therefore, it is said that the Lord has lotus feet. Why do we often relate the Lord with what is available in our world? Okay, actually, it's not that we are seeing, just like there's a word called anthropomorphic, is it? Yes, where people say that we are imagining God because of our experiences in this world, that he has a form and he has a wife, consort, a wife, house. So in the same way here, it's not that we imagine Krishna has lotus feet and is on the lotus because we have experience of a lotus, but it's the opposite. We understand that in Goloka, the shape of Goloka is a lotus flower. Okay, we also understand that in our universe, the first created being Brahma was born on a lotus, in the world of a lotus. Okay, the lotus is a special flower in the spiritual world, and then it manifests in this material world in this form. Actually, the lotus flower is very sweet smelling, but the smell goes within a few minutes from plucking, so you will not know that. Okay, and it's supposed to be most beautiful. If you look at some of them, there's very beautiful. Roses are also beautiful, but lotus in Sanskrit, there's many words for lotus. I think at least 8 or 9 that I know of. There'll be more, of course. So many. It's a special flower because it is widely featured in the spiritual world. And because it's so beautiful, Krishna's eyes, Kamalaksha, Padmanabha, and what is that? Yeah, lotus feet. They're all compared to the lotus. So yeah, you said the rose is also, yes, it is, but the lotus is more beautiful, really. If you see an open lotus, it's huge like that. And they have sometimes purple, pink, white. Then you have that lotus which opens when the moon comes. They're really beautiful. And the lotus in the middle, if you look at the stem, it's like an upside down cone. That is exactly the shape of Mount Meru, which is situated in the middle of the universe. So in this way, the lotus it's not normal. It's not a normal flower. It has a great significance even in the spiritual world. That's why they always compare Krishna to that. It's something very extraordinary and beautiful. They'll compare that. They'll compare Krishna with that. Okay. Next question. Prabhupada mentioned this monkey, that the monkey is the last species of life before being promoted to the human being. There are 3 animals: monkey, cow, and lion. This is being said. This is being said, underlying the facts about Raja, Tama, and Sattva. So does it mean that all of the life forms evolve to these life forms after their past death, and from any of these human life form is attained? Yes, it's correct that the human being comes either if he's tamasic, rajasic, or sattvic. Depending on that, he would have come through the monkey, cow, or lion. That is true, that all species have to come through this to take a human birth, because the soul undergoes spiritual evolution of consciousness. That consciousness is opened more and more as it comes up the species. In fact, Prabhupada said that Darwin had read Padma Purana on this point about the hierarchy of species, 8.4 million. And so he misunderstood it to be evolution of the body, but it's the consciousness evolving. It gets higher and higher until it comes to the human form. Okay, so it's true that they do come through. All species of humans have to come through these 4 animals, but there is exception. The exception is if these animals or plants come in contact with bhakti, devotional service in any form, in a powerful form, then they can take a human birth in the next life. I'll give an example. Srila Prabhupada said that when we offer fruits or flowers from a tree continuously, then that tree gets a human birth in the next life because it did bhakti. Bhakti guarantees a human life in the next birth, as we said in the last Bhagavad Gita lecture. So the tree or even dog or cat which takes prasadam, they can take a human birth in the next birth. Okay, that is the exception. Otherwise, all the animals, they gradually evolve the souls in different animal forms. They'll come to the next one, next one, until they reach these 3, lion, monkey, and cow, after which they will take a human birth. That is the evolution of consciousness. Okay, that is an answer. So, as I said, if something not clear or further clarification, then you can just tell me. Otherwise, I will go to the next.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
So, if animals like monkey or whatever, if we offer them prasad, then there are chances that they may take human birth. So, if we are taking prasad, then it's like most probably we will, in the next form, we will be again born as human form.
Yes. Now, in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 40, that is the verse we did last time. It said that by doing bhakti, that, what does it say? Trayate mahato bhayat. It frees us from the greatest danger. And I mentioned the greatest danger is taking an animal birth in the next life. Death is not the danger for a devotee because dhruva janmritasya cha, whoever's died is sure to be born again. And you will be born in that same consciousness. But if somebody, if the person has no contact with any bhakti at all, then what is determining his next birth? His karma and his desires and actions. For a devotee, of course, his desires and actions are spiritual. Still, we don't know what is the destiny because of our karma. But when we do bhakti, it destroys karma. Okay, now you're talking about taking prasad. Simply by taking prasad a lot, food offered to Krishna, it guarantees a human birth. That's a fact. And not only that, but bhakti will be born. And even animal. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a story of how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was feeding a dog prasad. And of course, not only the prasad, but the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after some time they found the dog had left its body, like death, which means the soul went to vaikuntha. So that's a fact that by taking prasad, we guarantee a human birth. Any other form of bhakti, that happens. Okay, so next question. I have read that the Vanaras of Ramayana were not ordinary monkeys. They were all demigods who took the forms of monkeys to assist Lord Ramachandra in his pastime of rescuing Sita Devi from the demon Ravana. Why specifically a monkey form? Is there any reason for this? Actually, it's mentioned in Ramayana that Brahma ordered the demigods to give birth to these species. Okay, so that means they would have united with other similar like monkey form or riksha, they call them rakshas, other forms. So the demigods united with them and produced these species. It's not that they were demigods, as far as I remember. Lord Brahma had ordered it. So yeah. Anyway, it won't be easy to find now, but that's the fact, that they are born of demigods. Now, why monkey species? That's, I can't remember. That's not written, if as far as I remember. But that was the pastime, basically. Yeah, Vivek?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So I think there is one pastime where Narad Muni had actually given a curse to the Supreme Lord. Anyway, that will not affect, but he had given a curse that he in his next incarnation he has to take help from the monkeys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. That's the Leela. Okay. Has to take help from monkeys. And there's other curses. Some of the souls in the monkeys were also told something. I mean, there's sometime in one Leela, many things are there. Some of the souls were told that you have to take birth as a monkey, but you will come in contact with the Supreme Personality of God. Okay, so that, yeah, Vivek spoke that point. And that is there. It's the pastime. The Leela is like that. Why specifically monkey? Yeah, that's the reason. Okay. Next question. If someone asks, who am I? Where did I come from? What is this material world? Why am I suffering? Why do I have to get old, diseased, and ultimately die one day? What have I done wrong that these things are being forced on me? Who is God? What is my relationship with God? What is the perfect answer for all this? Yeah, these answers are there in Bhagavad Gita and the book called Science of Self-Realization. Gradually, as we come to ISKCON, we'll know these. Who asked that? You can attend our classes. Adarsh. Yeah, you try to attend our Bhagavad Gita classes if possible. But specifically, I'll just go over it quickly. Who am I? I am a spirit soul, servant of Krishna. Where did I come from? We come from Vaikuntha, the spiritual world, where we were with Krishna in his transcendental pastimes. Why am I suffering? The root cause of suffering is forgetfulness of Krishna. Because we forgot Krishna, now we are trying to seek completeness, happiness separate from Krishna, which is not possible. It's a suffering condition. Its analogy is given like a boy who leaves his home and goes on the street. Then he has to find his own food and shelter, and he comes under great danger from so many elements. But if he simply goes home, everything is taken care of. So what was the root cause of his suffering? Breaking his relation from the home, the father, like that. So in the same way, we broke our relation with God, and now we are being roaming around or being kicked around this material world, and that's the root cause of suffering. Next question. Why do I have to get old, diseased, and ultimately die one day? Well, because we undergo different karmic reactions. So to distinguish between one set of karmic reactions and another, death has to happen, because you have to end your experience and go to another experience, another country, another body, another mind, another state of being, to continue to enjoy or suffer your karmic reactions. So death has to happen to separate you from one set of experiences to another, because we keep developing new experience desires. What have I done wrong that these things are being forced on me? What am I doing? What did we do wrong that this is coming to us, all this? Well, we broke our relation with Krishna, because when we are connected to Krishna, we are complete. It says in Ishopanishad that Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnasya Purnamadaya Purna. Yeah, I can't remember the whole verse. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. The Supreme Lord is complete. And when we are connected to him, we are complete. No, we are not connected with him. Now we have to seek happiness, eternality, and knowledge separate from him. So that is the why these difficulties are forced on us. Who is God? God is Krishna. And these are very brief answers, but the answer you have to read whole Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. So who is God? God is Krishna. What is my relationship with God? My relationship with God is that I am a loving servant, eternal servant of God. I'm not equal, I'm not greater, I'm a servant of God and fully dependent. Okay. And personally, we can discuss on the phone for deeper answers if you want. For all these. Next question. If someone commits a dhamma aparadha, like breaking 4 regulative principles in the dham, what happens to him? Yeah, dhamma aparadha, there are different kind of aparadha. One of them is dhamma aparadha. Yeah, it's not a good result, but it says in a song by Narottam Das Thakur, it's called A Bar Karuna Koro. Anyway, in that song it says that Haristane Aparade, actually I found it here, I'll just tell you. If one does an offense in the dham, Haristane Aparade, Tare Harinam, Tomasthane Aparade, Nahi Paritran. That if one does aparad in Haristhan, a dham, then Tare Harinam, he should chant the holy names. Okay. The holy name delivers one who has committed an offense to Lord Hari. So that includes in his dham. But if one commits an offense to you, to a Vaishnava, that is really, serious. Of course, every aparadha is serious, but we can take shelter of a pure devotee. If we do that aparadha, I would say that first you beg forgiveness from Krishna, then Srila Prabhupada and your own Guru, if you have a Guru. Otherwise, Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. You make a sincere prayer and beg forgiveness. And I remember that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur once was going in Navadvip. Years ago, in Navadvip, there was just jungle. So they were going in a car and they ran over a goat. So he said that this is a Dhamvasi and how can I do this? So he fasted the whole day. So sometimes if you feel you can fast, you can pray for forgiveness. Next question is, that's not a question. Or did we get another one? Oh yeah, there's more here. If one has committed a Vaishnava aparadha in the past and was genuinely sorry but was never forgiven, is there any scope for him to reach Krishna? I hear that when you do Vaishnava aparadha, you go to the Vaishnava and pay your obeisances and beg forgiveness. And if they don't forgive, you keep going till they forgive. And serve them, you serve them so that they become happy with you. If somehow that's not possible, then you pray to the Paramatma. That means you pray to him from, not directly in your heart, from your mind. You just pray to him and ask forgiveness in that sense, in that way. Okay. That's the way. I'm just checking at the bottom. Someone, okay. Srinidhi asked, what are the different stages of bhakti? Bhakti only means worshipping God or something else. Okay. If you read Nectar of Devotion, they explain that there's 2 kinds of bhakti: sadhana bhakti and raganuga bhakti. Sadhana bhakti is the beginning stage when we have to kind of force ourselves to remember Krishna by following sadhana. And raganuga bhakti is bhakti, but which is coming automatically because of a great taste and desire. Now, when we are saying what are the different stages of bhakti, let me understand that. When we're doing bhakti, we're not at the highest stage immediately. We go through stages, okay? That is one point. Because you don't suddenly go into the spiritual energy. Gradually we surrender more, develop deeper desire, faith. More and more our consciousness is spiritualized. We come under the spiritual energy. That it's not immediate, okay? So there are stages, okay? But the second part of the question is that I think, I'm not sure if I answered. So it says that, does bhakti mean only worshipping God or something else? Sometimes they say things like Desh Bhakti or Shiva Bhakti or Durga Bhakti. But if you look at the definition of Bhakti, the Prabhupada explained it only refers to Krishna or Vishnu, because only that is unconditional. If we worship anyone other than Krishna, the very nature of the worship is asking for something, some benefit. And so that bhakti means anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam. That is that there is anyabhilashita shunyam. There is no other desire except to serve Krishna. It's not like that when we worship, say, Ganesh or Durga or Shiva, because we are asking for something. Okay, there's nothing wrong with those personalities, but the form of worship is like that, that you ask, you know, Dhanam Dehi, Yasho Dehi. We pray to Durga, give me wealth, give me fame. It comes in the prayer. So that is not bhakti. Bhakti means no benefit for me, just service. And the method of worshipping Krishna and Vishnu is like that. So Krishna worshippers, there's one verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakale Ashant, Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Ataeva Shant. That means that Bhukti Mukti Siddhi. Bhukti means sense enjoyment. When we pray, anybody who prays for some sense enjoyment, good, some benefit in their life, material benefit, they are not peaceful. Bhukti Mukti, those who just want liberation to merge into impersonal Brahman, they are also not peaceful because they want something. Bhukti Mukti Siddhi. And yogis, they want yogic powers. They're also not peaceful because they're waiting when will I get the powers. But it says that Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Ataeva Shant. But the devotee, he doesn't want anything. He doesn't want liberation. He doesn't want anything. He's just saying to Krishna, let me just serve you. Let me serve you. And if you want, you can liberate me. I can serve you here, or I'll save you in hell, or in heaven, or in vaikuntha. But I'm going to do the same thing. And because I'm connected to you, I will be so happy and peaceful. So bhakti, that word is only for Krishna or Vishnu or avatars. It doesn't refer to country or devatas, devi. That is, it is worship, it is puja, but not bhakti by definition. Okay. Question, next one, is sometimes we feel how wrong we were in our past life, and we must need to start bhakti now. But when we start doing it, in our mind, our simple activities again rotate, and for reasons which we can't focus on bhakti. So my question is how to concentrate. So yeah, if I were to understand the question, is that we may have done some wrong things in the past. So when we come to bhakti and say, now I'm going to do bhakti, but then in the mind, all those things come. Look, any body in this material world is sinful. Anyone with a material body is sinful. That's why we took birth. Okay, I'm not saying it's okay to sin now. But the thing is that we are all fallen. We came to this material world. Okay, so that is the past. Okay, but there is a future. The sins, everything can be destroyed. Whatever you did wrong, but don't do it again, because Prabhupada said, Krishna will forgive you once and twice and thrice, but not regularly. Okay, so it's true, okay, we might have done some things in our past, okay, but we have to just overcome. So the question is how to concentrate. How to concentrate is what I'm saying. Your intelligence has to instruct your mind, because the mind is too much trying to agitate the past remembrances and everything. So you just simply have to tell your mind, intelligence has to explain the mind what I'm explaining you now, that yes, we did wrong, so what? So now we want to do bhakti and come out. Okay, so even whatever we did in the past, that is past. Now let's look at the future. And who knows, in the future we can, by the mercy of Krishna, get complete perfection. Okay, that's possible. So we should not worry about the past. We should regret, but not become disturbed and anxiety. Because as I said, everyone in this material world is, you can say, sinful. Anyone who has a material body, which means everyone. Okay. So, all right, Deep put a question there, but before that, something else came in the group. I'm going to read that. What is vaikuntha? Does vaikuntha have different levels? And after dying in vaikuntha, do we come back to earth? There are different things here. Vaikuntha is out of this material world. You have this material world. Within the material world, you have Swarga and Naraka. So Swarga is a place in the material world where you can enjoy more. And Narak, you will suffer. But whether you go to Swarga or Narak, when you finish your enjoyment or suffering based on karma, you will come back to earth. Shine punye martya lokam vishanti, it says in Bhagavad Gita. Shine punya, when your punya is finished, you come back to the material world. Okay. Now, Vaikuntha is not part of this material world. So we cannot equate it to Swarga. Vaikuntha is out of the material world. But to go to Vaikuntha, we have to get mukti, liberation. We have to get prem, love for God, for Krishna. Because only when we love Krishna can we enter Vaikuntha, or Vishnu, or Rama, or Nrsimha. Only when we love them, because that is meant for Vaikuntha, Goloka, is simply for the service of Vishnu. That's what it's meant for. So, if we go to Vaikuntha, we do not come back. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita many times, Yad gatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. One who goes to my abode does not come back, Krishna says. So Vaikuntha is the spiritual world. Are there levels of Vaikuntha? Yes, within the spiritual world, there are levels, you can call them levels, different experiences. Dwarka Dham, Ayodhya Dham, they are all in Vaikuntha. Then Goloka Dham, there are many places you could go within Vaikuntha, even Puri, Jagannath. They are all incarnations from Vaikuntha. Okay, and then next question. While being in the starting stage of bhakti, we have to force our mind to do bhakti. But what if we do sins by mistake? So if you do a sin by mistake, you pray to Krishna, okay, and you think, why did I do that? And don't do it again. If you feel, no, I'm in weakness, I can do it again, then you put yourself in a situation where you will not do it again. You have to organize your life in that way. Okay, so just don't do it again. So if you do a sin by mistake, but don't do it a mistake again, another mistake, again and again is not a mistake. So then we don't know if Krishna will forgive or not. So you avoid these things normally by taking good association with devotees, and you can speak with some senior devotee also, how to fix our mind deeper in bhakti and not focus on it and not doing any sinful activity. Okay. Now, yeah, one question was here. Chat. Oh, so quite a few here. In my home, my family members believe in all different types of gods, Devi, Devata, and worship them a lot. Somehow, I convinced my mother to do one mala a day. But I see she spends 15 minutes for one mala, but 1 hour more for worshipping other devas. How should I convince them to worship Krishna? How to preach to parents? One very powerful way is prasadam. If you cook, you can cook for them. If you don't cook, you offer fruits, dates, nuts every day, and give it to them. That will gradually purify their consciousness to be attracted to Krishna. At the same time, don't rush it. They're doing a mala, very good. Let them do it. Suddenly you cannot change them. Let them do the mala, then go back to their whatever schedule. But gradually you speak more and more to them, give them more prasad. The best thing is if you can make them read a book of Prabhupada. We all got influenced by the books. And that's such a change happened. So it's the same. If they read the book, they'll change. Somehow you have to give the books, okay, and prasadam and discussion, okay, but don't have to rush it, okay. Don't rush it. It's a gradual thing, all right. Next question here is Sai Baba among the devatas? My family believes in Sai Baba a lot, and I feel Sai Baba actually listens to their prayer and desire. First of all, as Prabhupada said, when we speak about God, we have to understand what is God. Okay, for example, if you want to go and buy a diamond, but you don't know what is a diamond, then definitely some shopkeeper can cheat you. He'll sell you glass or maybe iron, but because you don't know what is a diamond, you can get cheated. So before understanding who is God and who is, Devata, we should understand what does it mean to be a Devata, what does it mean to be God. Okay, now Devatas, it says here, Devata. Devatas are ministers in the government of Krishna. Like Krishna is the Prime Minister, you have Minister of Water, Varuna, Ministry of Air, Vayu, Ministry of Fire, Agni, like that. There are 33 crore demigods who administer this material world. Devatas. Is Sai Baba among them? It doesn't say anywhere in Shastra that Sai Baba is anything other than a normal person. Okay, but many people, because they have a very good system of brainwashing and I don't know which Sai Baba you're talking about, there is two. So that second one, if you just Google, there were so many so-called tricks he was doing, but they were magic tricks in the sense they were not, it was not really some medical, it was some clever trick of the hand. He was producing necklaces and watches. So that was, he was caught on video many times. He was doing something and the camera was angled and then they saw. Okay, so who's Sai Baba? He's a normal man. Unfortunately, this Sai Baba part 2, Satya Sai, he cheated many people. He claimed to be God. And the last video he made, you can Google it on YouTube. He said that Krishna's name is imaginary. There's nothing like Ram. At the same time, he said that he's incarnation of Krishna. So I couldn't understand that one. He actually cheated many people. And Prabhupada wrote to him. You can find out. I've got it on my computer, all those things. Wrote to him and told him, why are you doing these things? This is wrong. You should worship God. So I can give you more information on that. But in short, that he actually cheated people that they're saying he's God. They didn't understand what is God. God is Satchidanand. He's so attractive and he's supremely powerful, and he cannot go in a wheelchair. Okay, God cannot become old. God cannot get a disease. Krishna and Rama and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were eternally youthful and bright. Okay, they never became old or got disease or anything. Okay, I'll speak to you more if you want about Sai Baba on the phone and send you information. Okay, that requires a lot of explanation. All right. Does anyone else have any question, or that's it? Okay. Great. Okay, so I think we'll end it here. Okay, any further question you can contact on WhatsApp or on the phone. All right. So, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna.